So this story is going to be petty. This story is more of a commentary and analysis on what's going to be happening tonight. The debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Now, to be clear here, even Dr. Jill Stein, she will be giving her commentary and her perspective on what's going to be happening on election night. But the thing is, though, for this evening between Trump and Kamala, there's a lot to take away. Who's going to be ready? Will anybody be ready? And one person in particular who will probably be watching this the most will very well be Tulsi Gabbard, because we have to remember that she was the one who decimated Kamala Harris, not once, but twice. Now, we'll see if maybe Kamala Harris improved her game. You know, maybe she's ready for that fight, that left hook, right hook against Donald Trump. But I wanted to hear about how Tulsi would weigh in on this. So there's a couple of videos here that I want to play. First of all, again, we will see how this all plays out. Well, let's play this first video here.
He did a fantastic job in his debate against Joe Biden. Clearly, the results speak for themselves, and he will do the same in this debate with Kamala Harris. You know, Vice President Harris should not be underestimated. Clearly, as some of the media reports have shown, they have been studying my debate with her in 2019 and setting aside almost a week of solid debate prep with the lights and the stage and the stand-ins and everything. Donald Trump hasn't been doing that because he doesn't need to do it. He's been out speaking to the American people. She's taking this debate seriously. She will come prepared with memorized lines, ready to recite and deliver them in what I think will be a very effective way. However, she cannot run away from her record. President Trump looks forward to making sure the American people remember what she has done over these last 3.5 years and how she had the opportunity to fix what's broken, but she's the one responsible for breaking it. He will come in as president and actually begin to fix those problems and get us back on track as a country.
Now, we'll see if that's the case. We'll see if that happens. But she's being trained. Kamala is, that is, for a debate against Donald Trump. And recent reports are showing that there is a Trump-like actor that she is debating against. Now, the thing is, you know, Kamala has a record even before her time from becoming vice president. Now, perhaps Trump is just going to treat this like any other debate, but this debate will be a make or break moment for either Kamala or Trump. Now, as I said before, it doesn't matter who sits on the throne, but I am very curious to see if Kamala Harris will implode, because Democrats, she talked the big game at the DNC convention. But what causes me to wonder about Kamala's ability to fight is that she put her foot off the pedal. And on a weekend that should have been all hers, in which she should have been doing interviews and being on TV shows, she didn't engage. That in turn led to RFK Jr. to capitalize and endorse Donald Trump. And on that following Monday of that weekend, Tulsi Gabbard endorsed Donald Trump, taking away any kind of momentum Kamala Harris built at the DNC convention here in Chicago.
As you remember, Jesse, she was treated like with kid gloves by the mainstream propaganda media. She was treated with kid gloves, even by every other candidate that was on that debate stage. No one questioned her, challenged her, or called her out for the record as prosecutor that she claimed to be proud of. She talked every day about how she'd be a prosecutor president, but no one questioned her about what that record was and how that would translate if she were president. And I pointed out the hypocrisy. I pointed out the hypocrisy of how she would do one thing, and when the standard was held to herself, she did the exact opposite. We are seeing that opportunity again in this debate coming up tomorrow night for President Trump to do the very same thing. What Kamala Harris is saying, the lies that she is selling to the American people now, is the exact opposite of the record that she has had, frankly, as the incumbent in this race. She's been in the White House for the last 3.5 years, almost 4 years, not President Trump. And our country's in a disastrous position as a result, both on domestic and foreign policy. So she's not to be underestimated because she is talented on a debate stage. There's no question about that. But she's going to have a tough time trying to defend this record that, quite frankly, from the view of the American people, is indefensible.
When you observed her on the debate stage, what was it about her that created this aura where people were afraid to go after her?
Again, when I interviewed Nico House and when I played the videos of Tulsi Gabbard, basically decimating Kamala Harris, what people forget is that was the high point of Kamala's campaign just before the debate started. She made her announcement in 2019 on Martin Luther King Day. And there was a lot of coverage for her, and maybe the Democratic establishment was hoping that this hybrid Obama/Hillary Clinton clone could do something. Turns out she couldn't do anything. It was all smoke and mirrors. She was like an industry plant. And for those of you who don't know what an industry plant is, it's basically somebody who didn't earn a single one of their supporters or hype around them. It's what the corporation and entertainment industry is doing to promote somebody because they're the latest product. And Kamala was the latest product, but turned out to be bad product in 2020.
And what did you notice her strengths and weaknesses were?
It's a good question. I saw and experienced a lot when I ran for president, but really that between the leaders of the DNC and the leaders of the mainstream propaganda media, the fix was in. They picked the few who they wanted voters to hear from, and for the rest of us, they tried to destroy us. But this is one of the frustrating things about being on that debate stage that still continues now is the mainstream propaganda media creates this political theater, and they take very lightly this serious choice that we have as voters. And so they have created this false premise that whoever wins this debate, therefore, is the candidate that deserves to be president. Being a great debater does not qualify a person to be president, but this is Kamala's goal, Jesse, and this is why she's locked herself in her hotel room, taking extreme acting lessons. She's got Hollywood advisors, a stage, the Hollywood lights, in the hopes that her friends at ABC and the propaganda media will declare her the winner, and that may be enough to trick voters into actually voting for her. I don't think the American people are going to fall for it.
So the strategy was just go undercover for 3 weeks after the convention, put all the chips in one basket of the debate, and then rely on the media to manufacture a win by a few jazzy sound bites and zingers, and then say no more debates, and then just ride out early voting until November?
It's a reasonable tactic. That's what the Democrats are hoping for. Now, what's working against Kamala Harris? She had her support animal, vice president, for a simple, basic CNN interview. Now, I get it. Trump has had J.D. Vance with a couple of interviews, but even before and after he selected J.D. Vance, Trump has been doing solo interviews on numerous podcasts, radio shows, TV shows, big cable, all of that. By himself. As has Jill Stein, as has Cornel West, as had RFK Jr. when he was still running, Chase Oliver, all of that. They've all been doing that. Even Joe Biden. That's right. Remember when Joe Biden was still running, that senile old goat? He did an interview with Howard Stern. Yeah. And he was handled with kid gloves, but even Biden did it by himself. I call into question just how prepared Kamala will be, because this will be a make or break moment for her. And look, Trump, in his own record right now, people are going to say, well, he's too old, he's this, he's that. And to be fair, that's fine. Plenty of criticism, but you know something else? He won every single Republican primary debate. And you might stop me and say, well, gee, kid, he didn't attend the Republican primary debates. What are you talking about? That's right. He didn't attend them, but they kept talking about him, and he still won the debates. He wasn't even present there. And when he was doing his own interviews or other events on the same night those Republican primary debates were taking place, he was getting more eyeballs and views, clicks and likes than what the Republican primary debates were pulling in altogether. We'll see.
You think she could pull that off?
I know that that's exactly what she is trying to pull off. Her friends at ABC and the other mainstream propaganda media, they are doing their very best to help her. We've seen that over the last several weeks.
And also, Half Dahlia, you wrote this. Amidst all this, where's Biden? He's still the president of the United States. I don't know. I don't know where Biden is. He's a senile old goat. Maybe Biden's lost. Biden's big adventure. We're a global superpower, and our president's a senile old man. You know, in many ways, I kind of feel like how the Romans felt when their empire was in decline and their emperors were all weak and puny individuals. No backbone, no spine, no heart, being controlled. The country's still running, but we don't have a head of state. So what does that tell you about the office of presidency? It means nothing. Truly, it means nothing. Who's running this show right now? Who's in charge? God help us, by the emperor, by all the unofficial saints of Hard Lens Media. Who is running this ship?
The thing is that people in this country are struggling, and they're struggling with their cost of living, higher cost of groceries, gas, the crime in their streets, millions of illegal immigrants, tens of millions crossing our borders. There are very real issues and challenges that are happening today directly because of Kamala Harris and her record. And that's the seriousness with which they are treating this debate, to actually learn the truth about Kamala Harris. President Trump knows her record. He obviously has a record of success that he can stand on. And he's going to challenge Kamala Harris on exactly that and keep reminding voters who she really is, not the actor that she will present herself to be tomorrow night.
When you're there tomorrow night, you're advising Trump with debate prep, or they're calling it policy discussions. What do you tell him? What do you say? This is what gets under her skin. This is where I would go. What do you say?
You know, he's not focused on trying to get under her skin. He really is focused on the issues that matter most to the American people. President Trump is in great spirits. He is looking forward to this debate. You can imagine it's frustrating for any of us to watch and see the lies that are being sold about Kamala Harris and how much she's getting a free pass. And it's coming at a cost to the voters and the American people. So that's who Trump is focused on speaking to them, telling them the truth about Kamala Harris, so that they can make the best informed decision about who the strong leader is we need for our country now. And obviously, I believe Donald Trump is the best hope for us to have a better future.
Debatable. Look, doesn't matter who sits in the throne. That's how I feel about it. Doesn't matter to me whatsoever. What matters is what we do afterwards, and that is citizen ballot initiatives, building independent and third-party movements, and breaking away from both the Democratic and Republican parties. Now, again, this is all prep. We will see what happens. We will see if this will be a monumental moment or a complete epic disaster for either Trump or Kamala. Jill Stein will be giving her commentary. I'm pretty sure there'll be a couple other people who will be giving their thoughts and responses as well. But this election, it will end like any other election. And no, it is not the most important election of our lifetime. It isn't. When you hear it so many times, it loses its meaning. When you hear it so many times, it loses its flavor. It's done. It's no longer relevant. What matters now is the day after election night. What matters is what we do with the time that we have, that, dare I say it, the American people can actually get back their power. Whoever is president, whoever controls the U.S. Senate and House, whoever gets the most governor seats or controls the most state legislators, at the end of the day, these politicians will go right back to playing their damn games, and we're being left behind. But if Kamala does think, I'm pretty sure somewhere out there, Tulsi Gabbard will be just sipping some tea, laughing. It would be petty revenge. But after all, in this day and age of social media, what else is there but petty revenge? But the American people, we have work to do, as we should.